Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Architects League program on powerful partnerships in architecture and design. My name is Stacy Cleash. I'm a past president of the Architects League of Northern New Jersey, and I will be moderating and administering today's program. Our presenter tonight is Jeannie Fulton. She's a certified kitchen and bath designer and senior designer at Ulrich Incorporated in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And she will be presenting to us the opportunities for architects to partner with interior designers, kitchen and bath designers, and the benefits to architects in having those partnerships. Today's program has been approved for 1 continuing education credit, and you will be automatically receiving that credit by participating in the program tonight. And I think you're going to be getting a survey tomorrow or on Monday. When you complete that survey and send it back, that triggers the cycle of submission for your program. Because of the holidays, you might not see the credits show up right away, but it will be recorded as being completed in 2020. So if you're looking for finishing up credits before the end of the year, this will qualify for that. At this point, I'm going to ask our president, Matt Fink, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. This will be our final meeting for the 2020 season. We wanted to have one last event just to wrap everything up. As many of our events, as you know, have been canceled or moved to virtual, we thought it'd be best to have one more opportunity to receive continuing education and hear from a great group of speakers. As we wrap up this year, there aren't many more updates, but I would like to welcome everybody to our January 14th installation dinner at 6 p.m. This will be a virtual event where we will install the 2021 board along with our 2021 president, Chris Henriksen. We'll also be unveiling a variety of awards and recognizing those who have helped the league throughout the past year. So please, if you can join us on January 14th for our virtual event, we'd love to see you then. Thanks, Stacy, and I'll turn it over to the presenters for tonight's presentation.
Okay, Jeannie, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I am Jeannie Fulton. Thank you for being here this evening. And I am a certified kitchen and bath designer with over 25 years of experience. And I'm here today with Linda Alvino. She's our showroom manager and marketing manager at Ulrich Inc. in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And we're here to discuss powerful partnerships and successful partnerships with kitchen and bath designers. After participating in today's CEU, you'll have a deeper understanding of the role of a kitchen and bath designer and how working with one can enhance and bring value to your project. Number one, we're going to talk about how to partner with a designer, when and how to maintain design control while best utilizing the expertise of a designer, the added value a kitchen and bath designer brings to a project, and lastly, we'll talk about current trends in kitchen and bath design. So why work with a kitchen and bath designer? Simply put, the kitchens and bathrooms are the most detail-intense rooms in the home that go into the home, and what goes in them stays in them as a permanent part of the architecture. They're the most impactful in terms of the lifestyle of the family and the homeowner, and they add the greatest value to the home. They require the most detailed and specific set of knowledge for the home interior. So when to partner with the designer? It has a lot to do with the project at hand and those involved. You want to look at the overall scope of the project and ask yourself, does it call for a designer? As an architect, where do you prefer to focus? Do you want to focus on these details, or do you want to pass these along to the partner who will ensure your aesthetic is maintained? And what are the client's needs? Do they need a lot of hand-holding? Are they very detail-oriented? And does it make sense then to bring in a specialist to guide the client through the myriad of choices available to them for the project? So picking the right partner. There are many ways to create a partnership. In today's world, architects do interior design, interior designers do kitchens, and then of course the do-it-yourselfer. They're all out there. With so much overlapping and professional help option, it makes it difficult for both the homeowner and the professional to see where the lines are drawn and to determine who to work with for the most successful project. One of the ways to partner with a kitchen and bath designer is to hire one for your firm. Are you a design build firm? Do you like to maintain control over every aspect of your project? This can be a great way to increase your economic offerings to your clients. Of course, this comes with a huge economic risk as well. Mistakes in the kitchen and bathrooms can be very costly, so you want to make sure you're prepared for that. Number two, you could hire an independent kitchen designer, a subcontractor perhaps. They can shop around for the best suited products and offerings that will, and they usually have no allegiance to a particular supplier or vendor. And this is sometimes a little bit more expensive because the vendor will have a designer typically, and then you're paying for a designer as well. So sometimes it's a little more costly for the homeowner. And then thirdly, you can have your client hire a kitchen and bath firm. This firm will typically have a showroom that will have a particular allegiance to a product line. For example, when you go to a Volvo dealer, you're going to be shown Volvos. So you want to make sure that your project and your product offerings with the kitchen designer match and that they go together. This is also the time you want to consider, is it a custom project that you want custom everywhere? Or is it a job that has custom, semi-custom, and stock cabinets? And sometimes all three are in one project. We may use stock cabinets in the laundry room, semi-custom in the kids' bathroom, and custom in the kitchen. So there are times that all three get utilized. So what we do typically is focus on the needs of the clients. We usually take a very detailed survey of the clients to determine and assess their needs, their wants, and their preferences. In addition, a client will survey the architect to make sure their design aesthetic is maintained. This combination allows the designer to bring together the details that make a kitchen and bathroom function great and look terrific. And you want to make sure, for example, that the home fits the client. Is your client 4'6" or 6'4"? We want to make sure that they work together and are suited for each other. And are there people in the home that have special needs? How long are they going to stay in the home? Do we have to think about aging in place and making the home accessible for long-term living, for the rest of their lives, perhaps? A kitchen and bathroom designer will follow the lead of the architect and the architectural plan and guide the client to make selections that enhance the project. We shop with the client for products, for the fittings and fixtures, for tile, for appliances, lighting fixtures, countertops, floorings, and sometimes even other items if the scope of the project calls for it. Sometimes even siding, windows, stone for foundations, fireplaces. All of those details can sometimes fall within the scope of what we would do. Sorry there. Finding the right design partner can be tricky. Who do you want to hire? You want to make sure that you match the designer to your project aesthetic. You want to match the designer's product lines to your client's aesthetic and to their budget. And you want to look for a designer that brings the attention to detail required for your project. And you want to make sure your designer has a wide range and depth of construction knowledge. You want to make sure that your designer isn't leading your client down a path that's not sustainable. For example, just this week, a client asked me to lower her floor in the kitchen. And she kept saying, well, my basement has a 9-foot ceiling. I don't need 9 feet there. I need this ceiling to be higher. And she just couldn't understand why I couldn't just lower the floor. So, and some designers will tell their clients, oh yeah, we'll talk to the architect, we'll get that done. But it would clearly not be within her budget and would be a huge undertaking that was not fitting and that of course was in a remodel project. But it's important that your client, your design person will make sure that your client understands the laws of physics and the parameters of what they're able to do. You want to make sure your designer that you choose will follow your lead and allow you to remain the star of the project, if that's your preference, if that's where you want to be. Do you want to draw your project, do your work, and send it out to the world, or do you want to maintain control and take charge of all of that? And then the other thing we do is look at form versus function. Does your client cook? Do they entertain? Do they hire caterers? A kitchen designer will ensure that your kitchen will function for any and all of these scenarios. Does the bathroom need to double as a day spa? Then let's not forget the warming drawer to keep the towels warm after the steam shower. So what do kitchen and bathroom designers do? I talked already about taking the survey and talking in detail about what their needs are, what they want. We talked about shopping. What else do we do? Well, we'll look at the entire project and the entire space and do a needs assessment for everything. So if we're selecting cabinetry, we'll make sure we get the cabinetry selected and detailed for every room that's part of the project. Libraries, butlers, pantries, laundries, home gyms, home offices, mudrooms, all these spaces are areas that require detailed planning. We'll read the plans and do a needs assessment of the overall project and create the schedules as needed, for example, for lighting, for appliances. And then we organize the project for easy ordering, delivering, and installation. Then, of course, we communicate all of those selections to you, the architect, to the builder, to the homeowner, and make sure that everybody's on the same page and understanding exactly what goes where and how it gets built. The other thing I want to talk about that we do that's really important is we help the client to visualize the space and how it'll work for them. 3D renderings are a particularly helpful, tool that we utilize for this. So I'm often asked, or people say to me, I just can't visualize that. That's a statement that we come across often. And I wanted to show you this example of a before and after. So this project had a half wall there, as you can see, the refrigerator in this right-hand picture. There's a doorway into the dining room there. And the client kept saying, well, I don't know, I can't really picture what that's going to look like. And you can see in this next slide, the picture on the left is the actual rendering that was done prior to the execution of this project. So the client was very easily able to see that we were removing that half wall, that we were putting this arch in, we were going to move the doorway. And above the doorway, there's a chase that holds the some of the ducting for the air conditioning and so forth. But when you tell a client that the air conditioning duct is going to go over the doorway, all they can picture is sheet metal and not very pretty necessarily. But when they see this, they can say, oh, there's a space there, it's covered, it's beautiful, this is what it's going to look like. And they can then picture themselves living in this space. So on the left is the actual rendering that we did prior to execution, and the right is the actual photograph of the finished project. And you can see how closely they mimic each other. The actual execution of the project is very true to the visualization, to the 3D rendering. It's a great tool. Timelines for partnering. Simply stated, it's just never too early. It's consulting in the beginning of the project ensures the architecture works with the kitchen needs and the bathroom needs. As a case in point, on the picture on the left, there was a large picture window in the center of that, or two double hung in the center of that wall. And changing that to split two separate windows allowed the homeowner to then have the 48-inch range that she really wanted. And other things that we do is help to plan for coffered ceilings and things like that, so that they know that their look is going to fit into the room as they're desiring. We also help the client to define what their look is, and it's really good to do that early. Are they transitional? Are they traditional? Are they modern? Are they somewhere in between? Are they, Mies van der Rohe, less is more, or are they Robert Venturi, less is a bore? And every client is different, and everyone has different, and they'll tell you one thing, but when they look at the pictures, they don't actually like that. So we have to really define and drill down in terms of defining what their look really is. And this is the time to educate your client about their design choices. So what is traditional? What is modern? How do we know which is which? So the kitchen that you see here is a traditional kitchen. It has very classical architecture, the detailed crown molding, pilasters, mullions, inset door with exposed hinges on the perimeter, raised panel doors as you see on the island, all details that have historical reference. Now, transitional is the movement from one look to another. In today's world, we're mostly transitional from traditional to modern. So you can see in this photograph, we're starting to see the open floor plan. It's starting to transition into a more modern look. It still has traditional crown molding. It has historical references, but they're pared down. The feet, for example, are very clean line. The pilasters are clean, no fluting. So the references are there, but they're minimized, far less detail. Then we have transitional. Now you might look at this picture and say, well, that's so modern, and it is. No crown molding, very sleek and clean design. But the reason I'm putting this in the transitional leaning towards modern is that they still have that shaker door. See the peninsula there, that leg? The doors are all still shaker doors. They couldn't really quite commit to that full modern look. This really is a transitional kitchen, leaning way modern. And this is obviously the furthest spectrum of the transitional look. Now, this next slide is a full modern kitchen. And I am ignoring in this one the fireplace, because the fireplace is still traditional, but the kitchen itself is really committed. They really stuck to their aesthetic. Flat panel doors, no crown, floating countertop, no corbels holding up that countertop. The feature wall with no all tile and no wall cabinets. And that's talking about, where did those wall cabinets go? What that means is that the storage is someplace else. The storage now has its own zone, and it's not in the cooking zone necessarily. That's a very modern feature. So what to provide the designer for best results? The bottom line is that it's all about communication. The architectural plans, the defining of the scope of the project, the client's needs and wants, and then communicating that all back and forth via plans and conversations and meetings to make sure that it all works aesthetically and properly. So a kitchen and bath designer will bring a very specialized set of skills to the table, a focused set of knowledge about cabinet construction, countertops, materials, appliances, fittings and fixtures, and how they all work for the people in the space. We allow architects to maintain control over the finished project, and working with a trusted partner allows an architect to free up their time and energy for either other projects or other aspects of this particular work. Perhaps project management of the construction. We guide clients to make decisions that result in a cohesive project where all parts combine and fulfill the original vision. And once you have a relationship with a designer, they understand you, you understand them. There becomes an efficiency in communication that helps the project run smoothly and timely. And the kitchen bath designer, again, will help your client envision this completed space and understand how the space will serve them. So what's new for 2021? The number one trend in kitchens and bathrooms, but in particular, we'll talk about kitchens for a moment, is technology. Whole home technology, smart homes, USB drives, charging centers, smart appliances that talk to your phone, appliances that talk to their technicians to tell them that they need service, all available today. And it's only getting more and more popular. We control our heat from the phone before we get there. We turn on our lights and on and off our lights from remote. We even can lock the doors and so forth. And it's not just for the kitchen. It's also for the home office, the schoolrooms, the classrooms. Everybody's working from home today, so even more we're integrating those technologies into every room of the house. The color trends in kitchen. White is still number one. the white perimeter with the dark island, either walnut or blue is a strong contender for the next color that people want. Colorful appliances, blue again. Neutral colors and grays are still really popular, but the whites are sort of expanding. They're going from the taupey whites and the neutrals and the ever popular gray. I would say gray is still very popular, but it's definitely a waning trend. I'm kind of a little bit discouraging clients from going to gray because it's been so popular for so long. It's going to turn the corner at any minute. And it's sort of going into the silvery blues. It seems matched with the warmer veneers of the walnuts in those tones. And they're going to these deep jewel tones. So especially tons of texture, tons of color, especially for backsplash tile. We're typically, I'm seeing this a lot in small areas, in the butler pantry, in the powder room, in the bathrooms. We've been very color starved for a long time where everything is white, 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 white. Now people want that saturated color, but we don't want it everywhere with everything. So we're seeing them in small areas. This particular project happens to be off of a kitchen that has the white perimeter and the gray island. But this gives them a little relief and a little reprieve from all that whiteness. The other way that color is being used is as an accent color. In this particular photo, you see the purple on the left with the stainless steel cabinetry, and on the right, this is actually it looks white, but it's actually a very pale gray with stainless steel appliances, but those accent colors are the brushed gold. And this all works and blends beautifully together in this one space. The next trend we're looking at is sleek simplicity. So that transitional look is coming more and more to the modern. So when we talked about the traditional versus going to modern, now we're really getting to that furthest end of the modern spectrum. Open floor plans, flat panel doors, no crown. We're committing. Clients are committing. They really want the full modern experience. And they're doing them in traditional homes, by the way, also. So the other pieces of the house may still be traditional, but this space, especially the great room next to it and the kitchen, they're going full out modern. In sleek simplicity, we're also seeing the open shelving. And again, this refers to no storage there. So what we're seeing is walk-in pantries, lots more of walk-in pantries, and big storage cabinets are in demand. We're seeing a lot of eclectic and specialized design. I happen to love this kitchen, this industrial chic. All these systems are exposed. We see exactly where the ventilation is happening. We see where the lights are happening. And so they're really committed to this gray look. But then if you notice the floor, they have this Mediterranean patterned floor paired with all this industrial look. I just love this one. And by the way, I took this off the internet, so it may be somebody's out there. If it is your kitchen, kudos to you. I love it. I think it's a great kitchen. All right, and specialized spaces. We're doing a lot of pet centers, places where our pets can be pampered too. The wash station, the food storage, the actual eating place, special hoses so we can wash down our dogs properly. Lots of room for that. And homework and homeworking and homework stations. With everybody working from home these days, there's a huge demand for that. And these spaces do tend to overlap, so they're doing double duty as other spaces as well, often in living rooms, often in family rooms, off the kitchen, close to the kitchen. Countertops. Quartz is by far the #1 product being used for countertop in both kitchens and baths. We're talking about kitchens for the moment here. And it's the marble look that people still want, that white marble look. I've had very little requests for anything other than white in countertops. But the built-up edge, that 2-inch built-up edge, is a pretty popular item. Or the dark black, like you see on the other side of this picture. Quartzite is also pretty popular. So quartzite is a natural material that's quarried out of the ground. It's in the granite family, but granites are way done, except for the quartzites, because they're much more homogeneous in color. They have very large granulations and grains, and they have a lot of depth and character and color that you cannot get with the quartz. So if somebody wants that real depth and sort of almost a shimmer, the quartzite would be the material that they would want. Wood countertops are still popular in specialty areas. We are still doing wood islands, large wood countertop islands, although marble is definitely by far, the quartz is definitely by far outstretching that. Metal or metal look countertops, especially in bars. This one happens to be a wood countertop that's finished like metal, but lots of stainless steel and lots of metal look countertops. So the next trend we'll talk about is custom storage solutions. So we are a stuff society. People like stuff. We like our stuff. We want it to be there when we need it, but we don't want to look at it in between. So all of these workstations close away. So that coffee station with the microwave closes when we're not making coffee. All of the spices close away. All the appliances close away. So we don't have to look at them when we're not actually utilizing them, and they just go away. They're hidden. We want a place for everything and everything in its place. And storage is zoned also. So zoned storage for tasks as well. So the baking zone, the coffee area, the juicing area, the appliance cabinet, and the food pantry are all areas that we're looking at now for storage. And I love this solution. So, you know, again, we're a stuff society. So these two corner cabinets just look like ordinary corner cabinets, but each one opens to hide our mess behind there, and all the things that you don't want to look at during the day. So the kids' games, perhaps, the toys, Christmas wrapping or holiday wrapping, whatever it might be. And when those doors are closed, they just look like nice, neat corner cabinets. Flooring. Hardwood is still the most popular product that we're seeing. People are doing more unique species and engineered wood and more unusual individual colors and textures. If you're doing tile, people are doing porcelain. It's just the most durable and the most easily, it's the best, most solid surface for a kitchen or for any space. And lastly, in flooring is the new vinyl. So this is not your grandmother's vinyl. And historically, if you did a vinyl floor and you dropped a knife and damaged it, the whole floor was done, had to be replaced. These are actual vinyl tiles that are grouted in. They're much more cost efficient. And if you do damage one, it's easily repairable. You can just take one out and put a new one back in. And the big advantage to this is that it's much easier on your physical body. If you're standing in a kitchen for a long time on a tile floor, that's really hard on your hips, your knees, and so forth. A vinyl floor is much softer and it will absorb the shock much better than tile. So it becomes a really nice alternative. And again, it's cost efficient. And flooring too, we're seeing a lot of these texture pattern floors, this Mediterranean kind of look. So it's the white kitchen still, but then we're making the statement with the floor and the backsplash. Islands are still hugely popular. The bigger, the better. Sometimes 2 islands, sometimes a peninsula if there's not room for a island. And single level and flat and clean. And a lot of times clients do not want their sink on the island, but I try to talk them into putting the sink on the island. I just find it's often a great solution. And then islands that are a focal point in a statement. So for example, this is an agate countertop that is lit from underneath and behind, and it is there is a matching hood detail with that same agate built into that. So both are these art statement pieces. Bold backsplashes. So mirrored, full solid glass, full solid surface material on the backsplash, glass, metal, mixed media. They're all being utilized to have these very bold statement backsplashes. And again, this is another picture of the solid surfacing, the marble going up the backsplash. And this one happens to be real marble, not the quartz. The client, she just wanted it. So there you go. And then varied colors and textures and patterns. So again, real neutral kitchens perhaps, or like that navy blue one, then great color and texture in the backsplash. I think it's perceived as easy to change out if they get tired of it over time, which it is. Next, we're going to talk about connecting the outdoors. So we're bringing the outdoors in, we're bringing the indoors out. Outdoor kitchens are huge. Big glass walls are huge. These exterior wall systems are a great way to open that whole wall up to the great outdoors, or the pool that's outside. We're doing hoods often as art, custom designed hoods with specialty details that make it their own. Glass hoods, metal hoods, all different metals. A lot of enamel, a lot of brass, a lot of copper, and a lot of glass. And I love this picture on the left again as an example of color, because that blue is one of the big blues that's coming back instead of the whites. Navy and this color. Multi-purpose sinks and prep stations. Sinks with integrated cutting boards are very popular. Double sinks or the sink and a half are falling away to make room for one large sink that holds your lasagna pan and a lot of other stuff. And very, very efficient workspaces. So this little space here could easily be a Manhattan apartment or be a second kitchen in a home, maybe in the basement or someplace else that they, the pool or the spa area. And then multi-purpose sinks and prep spaces. The work triangle is being replaced with the work and task stations. The coffee center, again, the prep area, the cleanup area are all utilized. And specialty appliances, microwaves are, it's sort of a sub-trend that microwaves are, there's a certain set of people that are not using microwaves and not putting them in their homes, and replacing them with steam ovens and using a steam oven for all of their needs. Speed ovens are also very popular, and the ever popular pizza oven, indoor and out. Bathroom trends. Smart toilets. And yes, they are remote control, and I don't know why, but they're popular. Technology in the bathroom too. There are computer systems that set the temperature, play your music, control the steam and or light, and they're preset for each individual user's settings. They're really terrific. Smart mirrors with the TV behind the mirror, automatic faucets, wireless music systems, all built in, all part of the smart house. Technology in the bathrooms, air massage tubs, TVs, an alternate fuel fireplace. Again, all remote control. Mini fridges, beverage centers, towel warming drawers. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people want to stay in their master bath suite. So they want their coffee station, they want their nightcap all in one little area outside of the bathroom, between the bathroom and the master bedroom, perhaps. Color, dramatic black and white. So again, we've been seeing this white trend for so long. We're a little color starved. So there's this black and white trend happening. These dramatic floors, marble dramatic floors or walls, black accents, black mullions, barn doors. I'm sure you've seen them with black windows also, beautiful trend. And then paint colors are becoming popular. And navy blue again is the #1, but individual colors, people want to have their little particular spin on what color, on their own color palette. And then of course, gold tone for the fittings and fixtures. That brushed gold is very popular. Tile, the patterns, the shapes, the textures, lots of color. And again, those deep jewel tones. And then feature walls. So lots and lots of feature walls where it's either around the mirror like this or a whole wall behind the bathtub perhaps is one textural tile, just beautiful texture. The wood look in bathrooms too. This actually happens to be one of the vinyl tiles again, the wood look. It's really nice to have that in a wet area. It's a little easier to clean down and to wipe down. But the wood look tile is very popular. Floating vanities, still very popular, lit underneath for the night light, that whole appearance of floating and then being able to get underneath there and clean it really well. I think probably one of the #1 reasons people want the floating toilet or the wall hung toilet in the floating vanities is to be able to clean that floor completely and easily. So here we talk about the wall hung toilets, very, very popular. It adds space to the room since they don't project as far. And they are adjustable for height. So again, if you have that extra tall person, you can adjust that a little bit. Here again, we see that patterned tile used on the wall instead of the floor, beautiful accent. Freestanding tubs. I'm sure you're all doing tons of freestanding tubs because that's what people are asking for. They want the freestanding tub. And I'm also seeing them not necessarily jetted. The jetted tubs are pretty far gone, replaced with air jets. And even that, I'm seeing people are just interested in the soaking tub. And I think that has to do with also that people are really realizing that they never really actually get in the tubs. They're just there because the room calls for it. They're supposed to have it. Large open showers, curbless entries. So we're seeing a lot more of accessibility for aging in place, perhaps for wheelchair use without having it look like it's a handicapped accessible bathroom. I love this bathroom because if that wheelchair weren't there, this would just look like a beautiful bathroom. It is fully accessible. It is fully accessible for a person in a wheelchair and an aide. Yet it just looks like a beautiful bathroom. It's just, but fully accessible and full wheelchair accessible. So kitchen trends, trends in cabinetry. So stained wood is having its day again. It's a little bit of a comeback, especially with dark woods, especially with the spruce oaks are still very popular. Walnuts, natural bamboo, still popular. And the use of different wood species and wood look textures are still popular. Laminates and veneers. So the unique looks are being achieved through new offerings in laminates and veneers. With improvements in technologies, these materials have seen another surge in popularity. They're again sticking to that modern aesthetic, but have beautiful textures, beautiful colors that don't necessarily occur in nature, but are beautiful and they work well. So, many people will come in and they'll insist on a solid wood door or solid wood cabinetry. And MDF has sort of been frowned upon in the past, but it's having its day. It's coming about because there are so many painted cabinets. You have to remember paint and wood expand and contract at different temperatures. So if you have a solid wood door and you paint it, those cracks are going to show where the seams are, where that 5-piece door comes together. Those cracks are going to separate and open if it's a solid wood door. But if you go to MDF, the temperature differentiation is less, and that cracking is far less. And sometimes the MDF is just one piece; it's all routed out beautifully. You have to be careful with them because they're not always all that beautiful. So you make sure you look at it. But MDF is having its day. It's gaining acceptance, and people are understanding better how it is actually a better solution in a lot of ways. So what is the new normal? City dwellers are moving to the suburban areas, and at the top of everybody's mind today is health and safety. And there's also a trend towards buying locally, buying in America, made in America is huge. And the other piece of this I wanted to talk about is in terms of health and safety, and also just being ecological minded. People are donating their kitchens a lot. So if they're in a gently used kitchen, but really just want their own look, they are, people are donating their kitchens to Habitat for Humanity, to Renovation Angel. They're both local organizations, and there are others that will take your kitchens. The homeowner gets a tax write-off. They get to choose the kitchen that they really want. Somebody who couldn't necessarily afford that particular kitchen get to purchase a kitchen for a much lower price point, and the homeowner gets a tax write-off. So it's really, and most importantly, that kitchen stays out of a landfill. So it really becomes a win-win-win situation. And homeowners are, again, much more interested in purchasing locally and partnering locally. So this concludes the AIA Continuing Education Program. Thank you for attending. Does anyone have any questions?
Jeannie, thank you so much. Members of the audience, please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A section of the Zoom feature. You should be able to find that along the perimeter. I wanted to mention, as we're waiting for you to type your questions in, I invited Ulrich to participate and for Jeannie to present to us today, because I'm finding in my practice, I'm an architect and also a certified interior designer, and I try my very best to provide architecture and interior design for all of my projects. And most of my projects do include that in the contract. But sometimes I still find out after the fact that the client has concern that maybe you know, some details are being overlooked, and then they go and hire an additional kitchen and bath designer or someone after the fact that makes all kinds of changes to the design intent. So one of the things I like about taking control over that process is I can identify from the beginning all the different specialists who we might need, or people who have a greater access to some of the details that might not be things that I do day in and day out, that will work as a part of my team instead of coming in after the fact and working without my knowledge and what I'll consider screwing up some of the design intent of what I have put together. So I love the idea of my being able to orchestrate who the team is, what roles everybody plays, and that I know that the designers are working together with me as partners and we're in concert with each other. So that's something that I find to be very important, and being able to drive that decision from the beginning, I think, is more successful for my project. So thanks so much, Jeannie, for shedding light on some of the opportunities. And we have some questions now, so let's pop over there and see what we have.
Sure.
William Martin asks, supports for the floating vanity, metal brackets, how are they supported?
For the floating island in the peninsula, or
like a bathroom floating vanity? How do they hang off the wall?
Yeah, typically that'll have an L bracket, goes into the studs into the wall, and then will go underneath the top portion of the cabinet. They'll often have a bracket on the wall, so it's kind of done in two stages. Not unlike the floating shelves, which will have something that anchors into the wall with a post, and then the vanity then will slide onto that. So it just kind of depends. There's lots of different ways to do that. But it does need to be supported with to the studs.
Jeannie, I'm still having clients ask for Carrera marble counters in the kitchens and bathrooms, which always make me nervous that they're going to be stained or that they'll have etching. So what is something that gives that same look, but it's a much more durable selection?
So the quartz materials are absolutely fantastic for that. So what I tell clients is a marble material is absolutely gorgeous, and there's kind of nothing exactly like it except quartz, which is so almost exactly like it, you really won't be able to tell the difference. But if you put your lemon down on a Carrera countertop, it's not so much that it stains, because we can take care of staining. We can get a stain out. What it actually does is etch and burn the countertop. And that requires regrinding of that whole surface. And you can't just go in with a Scotch-Brite and work it out. You have to really have it resurface. You have to have somebody come in. When a client asks me that, what I'd love to do is bring them into our working kitchen in our showroom and show them the beautiful etch markings that we have in our limestone countertop, because it really will look like that. Now, some people like patina and aging, and they like that it's going to look like that over time. It'll have that patina and aging. If your client likes it, that's great. If they really want it to look new for the next 10 years, it's absolutely not a good choice for them.
Thank you.
And Quartz is.
Here's that countertop, by the way.
Say again, Linda?
Here's that countertop.
Oh, yes. I
So
have one
that's
more
what I was
question from Bill, and then we'll take a tour of the showroom.
Mhm.
Oh, sure, if you'd like to.
Okay. So here's another question from Bill Martin. He asked, what are the trends in refrigerators? Bottom freezer, sizes, double freezer, separate units, refrigerator drawers. What are most popular these days?
Thank you. That's a good question. So probably the number one refrigerator that I utilize is a 36-inch in a kind of a typical sized kitchen, a 36-inch bottom freezer built in. I always tell a client, if there's a place to stretch the budget, it has to be a built-in refrigeration. And that's particularly to a client that isn't the Sub-Zero Wolf client necessarily. Not everybody is. So and Linda's actually showing it right there. This is a built-in 737. It's the top refrigerator and bottom freezer. And we built a panel next to it, or pantry next to it. Can you show the top of that, Linda? So we made this whole thing kind of look like one big hutchy kind of cabinet, but that's in fact a 12-inch pantry and a 36-inch refrigerator with a freezer on the bottom.
I wish I could.
Beverage refrigerators and refrigerator drawers are really very popular too. What I like to convey to a client is to have the cooks and the non-cooks out of each other's way. So we want the beverages, the drinks, the coffee, things that are needed, milk and so forth, in one area, so that the primary cook can continue their tasks without being interrupted. So both really, really very popular and still being utilized. Towers are also pretty popular too, with the all refrigerator and the all freezer. Obviously the kitchen has to be big enough. The budget has to be big enough, because it's now 2 appliances as opposed to 1. So all those factors have to come into play with that as well. But keeping, again, those tasks separated is really helpful. So somebody can get their ice cream and stay out of the cook's way.
I have a question for you, Jeannie.
Yes.
Don't mind my jumping in here. Do clients ever come back and say, gee, I wish I never got that French door refrigerator? I know they're very popular nowadays, but it takes 2 hands to open them, to get into the whole refrigerator cavity. I don't, I personally, I wonder, did you ever have any feedback on that?
I've never had a client say that they regret it. I usually recommend it when the space that it's in is not maybe as generous as I'd really love it to be.
Right.
Instead of swinging that big 36-inch door, now it is 2 hands, but it's a smaller space. And theoretically, you can, open one side and not the other. So you can, but you just can't get the full view.
And talking about technology, they even have those touch to open ones now, right?
Yeah. The knock to open dishwashers too, right?
Yes.
Linda, do you want to take us through the rest of the showroom? I'd like to see it.
Sure, absolutely. So when you first walk in, you get to see the Draper Dbs Cabinetry that we work with. Draper Dbs is a fully custom cabinet manufacturer in Pennsylvania. And the way I like to describe their product is, you dream it, they can make it. If you are looking for something even as simple as what you see here, this is a great example of just the detail that they can do. This is actually a set of drawers here, whereas over here is a dishwasher behind those panels that look identical. So they can do that very simple custom work. or they can provide for us so much detail that allows us to do some beautiful millwork and matching. We did these matching archways in mahogany for this bathroom in our showroom. Here's some beautiful marble tops for you, by the way. Very traditional look. Take you back through the main entrance here. This is a beautiful example of some of the jewel tones. Now, the purpose of our showroom really is to allow us to be able to show and tell, so our clients can really get hands-on things. You know, sometimes it's really hard to envision things. We talked about visualization. You know, what does it really look like? And touching and feeling makes a big difference when you're talking about, you know, making a significant investment in your home. So here's again those beautiful jewel tones in the tile there. Take a walk back to the back of the showroom. The center of our showroom is actually now highlighting the Woodmode and Brookhaven lines of cabinetry. And here you see the fully functional working kitchen that Jeannie mentioned. It's got an induction cooktop, a microwave drawer, a standard convection oven, the steam convection. It's got a warming drawer underneath. There's the refrigerator with a roll-out pantry next to it. And as you can see, we can show a lot of things to our clients here, not only the mixing and matching of the different paints and, you know, woods and things. Here's another wood top over here, the limestone top, you name it. It's really all there. Then if we turn this direction, you can see our contemporary display right in the center, the flat panels, the simple, clean quartz countertop with the waterfall edge. There's some beautiful detailing with the stainless steel surround of this bar section here that also showcases what Jeannie talked about, the you know, specialized areas that are dedicated rather than the triangle. There's just certain focal points of the kitchen that might be used for specific things. There's a galley sink in here, very popular these days as a workstation. Tons of accessories that come with it. We've got them all there to show. We've got a teppanyaki on the top here. So we've got everything loaded in there so everyone can see. As you walk through to the other section behind there is that lovely kitchen you saw some photos of before. The quartzite countertop, walnut accented with the white perimeter here in the kitchen, and that blue range along with the focal point hood and the beautiful gold accents. So really, you know, we like to make sure that there's a whole good variety of beautiful things, and hidden away even behind here is tons of functionality. There are corner accessories and things in here for storage. There's a little garage here for appliances. If you open these drawers, they're lit inside. We show how you can light glass front cabinets much more effectively. Woodmode has a wonderful linear lighting so that your light doesn't come from the top, but rather from the sides. Gives you a whole lot of freedom with your shelving in there. I mean, really, the sky's the limit as far as what can be shown and told about all of this stuff. So we really like to welcome people into our showroom. We welcome everyone, if you'd like to stop by anytime, to visit us and to make use of it. That's what it's there for. And we find that it's a great tool, you know, to work with our clients and showcasing, you know, everything that's out there these days. And that's it, pretty much.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you so much, Jeannie.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions from our audience. So I would like to remind everyone that we have recorded today's presentation and it will be uploaded to the Architects League of Northern New Jersey YouTube panel. I learned a lot today, and I hope everybody in our audience did. Please look out in January for the credit that you receive for participating in today's program. And I want to thank Jeannie and Linda for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us. It was really a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in our showroom. Just wear a mask and be safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Enjoy the holidays.
All right, everybody, we're signing off. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, wait, one more thing in the chat. What do we have? Oh, it's a thank you. Okay.
Oh,
You're welcome,
you.
Bill Martin.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Have a great holiday.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye now.